because you never know when your dog is going to eat poop or a bird or a gopher and get parasites and then come and sleep in your bed, So it's a good tool to have around to help that.
Wow, that's amazing. Good stuff. I put it right on my belly when she started talking about that. It's great.
Well, Laura, and you can tell Laura's from Texas, so so she's got a little bit of a draw, but wonderful. I mean, these frontliners are amazing. They have their own practice. They put a lot of their own effort. They struggle. They don't financially do as well as they could, right? They put a lot of their own time and effort into alternative health, and that is why when we go and support to these conferences and go and try to educate, amazing what comes back and what they do. And so we support that. And that wasn't, and again, that's not our business. Our business is saving bees and, mission and getting out there. But of course, the Pure Wave cell, because of its connection at a cellular base, and I always show it back here, this was you, Michael, when you first went into mitosis. That's the first thing you did with every other animal, with every other insect. I mean, everybody's the same. And then we go into our DNA, and that's why we have to lock on. And if we can connect to that, and that's why the plants, same, any living organism will pick up on this to support. To support what it's doing. So, so this is really pleasing us to see what's going on out there.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And to know that the Pure Wave cell basically is got the magnets, all you need to do, because I got a metal tray that I use to work sometimes, a computer and so forth. And so I set it on that and went, whoop, and it's, oh my God, that's powerful magnets in there. So it's amazing. Obviously, you can see that it has that. I don't have the spectrogram or whatever to see, the wave that goes out from it. But how far out does it go?
Oh, so provably measured is 12 inches in circumference around it. So 1 foot, and then it starts to weaken and dissipate.
Okay.
So that's why you keep it close to you. Like within that foot, like keep it on the body or close, because it does weaken. So what the strength is, each petal that's in there, each petal that has the magnet, there's 12 neodymium magnet. Each magnet is a 4,000 Gauss strength. So there's 48,000 Gauss strength of those magnets that want to come together on north and south polarities, just like this. And we hold them in the casing. We hold them in place so that they can't do that. So that then it holds that geometric form. Here, it holds that, and that's the key, because the shape is everything. The construct, how it's shaped, is what holds that frequency, and that is the under 7.32 hertz Earth frequency. That's what it is. A very low, very strong. We're not talking about 437 hertz. We're talking different sound waves here. This is in the Earth frequency that was discovered. And this is where the audience can really count on this. If you look up what is called PEMF, pulse electric magnetic frequency, that was discovered in the 50s when they sent astronauts out into space. Their whole bodies went into ECMO because they were outside the Earth's frequency, so they had to replicate it. They didn't realize it existed, and then they realized NASA did extensive 50-year studies on pulse electromagnetic frequencies, on what it does for bone fracture, circulation, blood flow, all of that. So that's available for everybody. And that's what this principle follows. In magnetic form. When they replicated it, they did it through copper coils. So there's things called PEMF mats, grounding sheets, and so forth. But that's all AC current. That's done in man-made, is restructuring those frequency. This is done with earth magnets on DC, which I found were the absolute best, the most natural, right? Because it's following the natural flow in Earth. So this is why it's giving that kind of production and flow out into a cellular level. It's just the cells respond to it, and they use it as food. It's like it charges up little batteries. If you think of your cells like little batteries, it charges them up because if your cellular is if at a cellular level, if you're below charging of 26%, that's when it's susceptible to all kinds of diseases, particularly cancer. It's been proven if a cell is charged up over 47 to 50%, what happens is you now are immune to those kinds of pathogens or virals, which is building your immune system. And that's really what it is. Just think of your body as little batteries that are charging up. And that's what that's doing. Yeah.
Wow. I was just watching a show where they were talking about the COVID vaccination and how there's nanoparticles that they believe were inserted in us and so forth. Do you think that this would have any kind of effect on that, or maybe help clear some of that up?
Well, I couldn't comment specifically to what you said, but what I can tell you is the PureWave cell definitely reflects the circulation with blood and different things. That's why the gut health and what it's doing. But here's where I can make a statement. When we sent it to Pathogenity Food Lab in Quebec, which is specifically to do with foods. Mm-hmm. So the pathogens that are in food at the grocery store, things like E. coli or Staphylococcus or Listeria, those are things that are commonly, when all of us go to the grocery store and buy, lettuce or fruit and meat and chicken, we're bringing that home. And to a big degree, it's okay. Like it goes through you. Sometimes it's mild food poisoning. That's why you take Pepto-Bismol and all that kind of stuff, because you've been mildly food poisoned, right? That's right. What happened. So that's where they talk indigestion. Well, what is indigestion? So the thing is, so when we took the PureWave cell and exposed things like chicken and raspberries and lettuce from the grocery store, and just put it on the PureWave cell for 5 minutes. We tested it before and after, and it was removing 60 and 40 and 100%. It was neutralizing. I won't use the word it was getting rid of it. What it does is it goes in and neutralizes it. So to answer your question, could it do something in the body if you've been, well, it's doing it to the food. I can tell you that for sure. Yeah. So that is a statement so it's just logical that it would be doing something in the body, that it could be neutralizing certain things that are floating in there.
Yeah, very good. And I'm not saying that that was actually in all the vaccinations, but we have seen some cases of that from other sources. So thanks for answering that. But I didn't want to put you on the spot or anything, but I think from what I've seen from the cell technology, basically it's like you're talking about. It's basically canceling out pretty much everything that's not positive for us. And I know that there's some people out there that are working on technologies to do that. People that have maybe been harmed by that. And I would say that probably your cell technology is helping in that regard, even though you haven't done any studies and you can't say one way or the other. Sure. Yeah. So great. Thanks for that.
Now, let's just separate from the PureWave cell. I have what's called the mother instruments called the Chrysalis E. What that is that's like there's 3 cylinders in there that have been set up in a 3D form of the PureWave cell that's in this instrument. The difference is I can spin the magnets at whatever ratio I want, up to 7,000 RPMs, which we do. But what it is now it's a recipe. When I pick the spinning and I pick the frequency, I can lock on exactly what that is. That is what we treat the honey with. We treat the honey with that. And we have our video so that people want to say, well, what's he talking about? Okay, we just watched the honey video. But that, without going down the medical route, I did a lot of testing and utilizing that in my lab for people with illnesses and different things. And that is the superstar. That's a different thing, because that's what you were talking about, going in, because I can alter it. And it's so much more power. It has 310 of those magnets in it in a 3D form of the geometry. So when you're going in there, it has a 4-foot ratio to 6 feet of when you're sitting in it. And I can manipulate what the cells are responding to. But that's a different issue from the PureWave cell, but it comes out of that.
Wow. Yeah. I'm glad I touched on that. I feel that much more evolved and out there than most would recognize. So let me share that one video. So I think Lisa, did you take that off? Lisa, we'll put that back. It was there, now it's gone. So there it is. Okay. I think. There it is. Okay.
Correct. So what you're looking at, three cylinders. So in each one of those pockets, each one of these cylinders here, it's like there's 12 pure wave cells in alignment all the way along there, but they're in an alignment where I can put them into angles of 3-dimensional, so that they're even more accessible and potent. Now the key though is I can move them at different speeds. Once you add the speed or the pulse, now it goes from a PEMF to a pulse electromagnetic frequency. So it mimics the earth exactly, because now I can go into and I can lock on exactly what the frequency I want and its formula. So then I can tie it back to what NASA did. They did studies on if you reach this frequency and this signature, let's say it's called a sawtooth frequency. If you can do it, it will say if you maintain that and are exposed to it, it will do this, and this. Those are formulated just like a cake recipe, right? So that's the difference when you're starting to try and get specific functions. And what I'm doing with the honey is I expose it with the rollers over that so that I can energize the honey to be more accessible to the body. In other words, it just integrates better. Honey's great. And we did electrophotography to show the difference before and after, and it just makes it amazing to integrate to the body. But that instrument is what I use if I want to get other results. But of course, look how big it is. So in other words, to get it to the public, that's where the pure wave cell, you're getting a piece of this to the pure wave cell at your home, because this is a large instrument that spins at over 6,000 RPMs and still retains a noise factor. It was so hard to do. If you rev your car up to 6,000 RPMs, you know what that sounds like. It's crazy. Well, this actually can sit in the room. I have a cover pack over it, and it will radiate out those frequencies without crazy sound, So this is where this all came from originally. Before, it's like a little Ark of the Covenant is what it looks like. It's just got right. And but what you can do with that health wise is not something that we have to the public. We use that to get it so we can get it to the masses with the pure wave cell. So that's really what we're explaining. But it's coming from something a lot deeper. Some people say, well, it's just some magnets in a disc. Yeah, but it's coming from something much greater than that. And I think I mentioned on your other show, I elected not to go down the human medical because people are complex and the system is complex as to what, the greater results I'd get, the more problems I'd have, in that area. So I went into the bees, and we're getting fantastic results with them and our mission, which we'll talk about, and which is your group and audience has really been helping us. And that's where I'm focused. But I use it and all the time, the Chrysalis E for larger health issues. If we're talking, substantial health issues and things like that. And it's done amazing things for specific people that are private, that when I was doing it, it's very private. It's not public, but for various reasons, that's why I knew going into that world would be another whole thing. So this is why this is working and getting it out to everybody.
Yeah, you even have a little house-like thing, don't you, where people can go in and get the effects of this? Yeah,
it's called the Chrysalis. It's called the Chrysalis Lab. And why I always use the word chrysalis, people say, well, it's chrysalis. Chrysalis literally means that you go from one state or one structure of being, and then you transform, you crystallize to something that doesn't even resemble. So that's the caterpillar to the butterfly, right? That is when it goes, that's the chrysalis. So it's in health, That's what it is. So that's the chrysalis building. So it has no windows. It has nothing that can interfere from the outside. That was critical. It has a special skin underneath so that your cell phone doesn't work in there, like Wi-Fi won't work, all of that kind of. So when you're going in there, it's like being in a deep forest in there, because for the first time in years for you, you don't have anything that's affecting you other than the space you're in.
It's like a Faraday cage.
Absolutely it is. And it allowed me to do that testing. So I had the Chrysalis E in there, and I did all the testing, and I can have it in there. And so when somebody's sitting in there, going through, it's absolutely mind blowing what's happened to people in there and myself, and what it allows to do. So because again, you and I, Mike, are going through it too. So, I'll be turning, I'm hitting 70 now. So of course, health is the number one thing, right?
Yeah.
Is still for me, that supersedes everything. And so I'm not just in this of what I'm going out and doing. And plus at this stage of the game, I was hesitant to go back out into the world because it's so much. There's so many things you're doing and you're around and running, and I didn't know whether I would have, that kind of energy to do it. But the Chrysalis E and that kind of stuff gives me, it gives me that footing where I have that energy to do it.
Yeah, that looks phenomenal. Super high tech, like futuristic, kind of like, keep hearing these med beds are coming out. So, I look at stuff like that and I'm like, that's technology is what we all need right there. So that's beautiful. And, some people are in the chat, they've had beehives for a long time. And one person was talking about how somebody neighbor sprayed the Roundup stuff and it affected them and so forth.
Oh yeah.
Now, does the cell technology basically help bees? Cause I know you have shown where the beehives are just like so prolific and so healthy. Does it help with stuff like that?
Well, it's no different. Sir, you are sitting in your beehive right now, and so am I. Mm-hmm. So we're subject to the same things, whether it be 5G or pesticides or whatever, same as the bees. Mm-hmm. What the Pure Wave cell does is it built, because the difference is the size of you. Imagine if you're exposed to a magnet that's the size of you and there's 12 of them, the whole length of you. That's what it is for the bees. Wow. So what we're doing is we're building their immune systems up so that they can withstand the Roundup, or they can withstand. It's not that they're not being exposed, because I can't stop what they're being, we can't stop what they're being exposed to. So we can build up food sources, which we do, and we can build up their immune system. So that's why they're thriving. The other bees just are not getting the benefit of that immune boost. That's the difference. And then we're also trying to get the areas that they're going out to with the seeding. So we do seedings all over the work because that's food source. Yeah. And then we do queen replacement because a healthy queen will go 2 years up to 3 and then will naturally die. So what's been happening though is queens are dying out right away in the first year or 6. That's what the bee loss is. Mm-hmm. What we're getting is getting those queens back to being the long run for them. So that, and then we help with queen replacements because 96% of all bees are controlled by beekeepers. So if you're going to go out and protect and save bees, you got to help the beekeepers because financially they're the ones that are fronting it. They're the ones that are doing it, whether hobby or commercial. So we have commercial beekeepers that have 800 hives, and then we have hobby beekeepers that have 2-3 hives. But it all adds up to thousands and thousands and thousands of hives, and then billions of bees. Each beehive has about 500,000 bees in the hive, about 500,000 bees per hive. So if we can get to, 1 million hives, you do the math, 500,000 times them. So we're getting literally, we're heading towards 1 trillion. Of bees that we can affect. And that's where we want to do it. And then we're really making a difference. And people are stepping forward now where they want to freeze their land. If they don't have a family or They don't have where they don't have an estate that they're leaving to. We've been contacted 3 times by different people that want to leave tracts of land to be frozen in for bees and so forth. So that will grow too if we can start locking those things in and their wishes through their estates. That really helps as well. So this is giving you some ideas, and I think we have a video for you showing a little bit about what's going on too with the bee keepers and the mission and stuff like that. Just so your audience can see where their support's going.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. And the beehive collapse is a real thing. So your work is turning that around. Do you see that that's a possibility it could be turned around sooner?
Now that, boy, you certainly asked the right question, because what we're doing now, it took us 3 years to get that bee report finished. We finished it about 7 months ago with Dr. Havas, and now it's been published and it's done. So that we had to get the foundation started that we could count on what this was doing. So we've done that, and that's on our site. And this year, along with yourself and hundreds of other podcasters, plus we're looking at thousands of influencers. We've got Coast to Coast Radio on board. We are doing a campaign this year where we want to go to what I was saying, 100 to 200,000 hives. We want to reach that, that 500 to 1 trillion bees. We want to check. So that's going to happen this year. We'll be looking at it. We're hoping to get this done aggressively. We're hoping by June, but more likely September. And then we're going to go out with a mission. We're going to go out with it and then bring all of you in on that mission to where it's 100 million people looking at this. And then we're going to make that change. So as opposed, we'll carry on with 4RB. So people always like the honey and products, but we're looking to take this to the next level. And then it'll be nonprofit that just distributes that out. We're looking to hit a target of around 40 million. US, somewhere around there, and then we'll distribute that out completely. Beekeepers, food sources, queens, the Pure Wave cells. We want to get 50,000 of those into hives. That's all free of charge to the beekeepers. This is what we'll be doing this year to step this up. But we're ready to do it. We had to go through the work before.
Wow, that's incredible. So you're just taking, as people buy the products and so forth, you're just like putting that right back out there and doing some amazing work. So that's another, fantastic thing. When you're buying the products, you're not only helping yourself, but you're helping the world. So very cool.
And we'll show you what that looks like.
So I'm here with Brent Knudsen, one of the founders of 4RBs. And we're here to find out more about the project. So tell us, Brent, you are the founder of 4RBs, correct?
Myself and another gentleman, Jake Cunningham, and I started this project many years ago, experimenting with different frequencies and devices, really geared for people health. And we never thought it would blossom into this. We have beekeepers from all over and bee associations now contacting us with questions, looking for ways to save and restore the bees and the bee colonies. They are desperate. The industry is really suffering, especially this year, with as much as 90% of a die-off in some regions.
Yes, I'm hearing it's really bad out there. So how is 4RBs tackling this disaster?
4RBs was created as a model for putting the power of change into the hands of people. It's our supporters that keep us going, much like a crowdfunding instead of a big corporate sponsor. It's the people that have the power to make effective change in this world. It's that simple.
Okay, tell me more.
Well, when we first started, we knew that frequency-based healing technologies were working extremely well with people, and we both personally witnessed amazing results all over the world, and it is catching on more and more in medicine. So we thought, well, what if we could develop a similar frequency or resonant-based technology that could be placed in beehives to help eliminate the pathogens and disease and counteract the damage the EMF frequencies are having on bees. After testing our theory, wow, we were getting phenomenal results. Even the beekeepers couldn't believe how well their bee colonies were doing with our PureWave cells in their hives. So now we needed to get this technology out to as many independent beekeepers as possible without additional financial burden to them, because they just can't handle any more expense. We knew that if we are to save the bees, we better be looking after the very people who care for them, and that's the beekeepers. And they are struggling because of the loss of hives every year, and it keeps getting worse. So these small independent business people need our help before they are completely ruined and out of business. They are, after all, the caretakers of the bees.
That is true, and I never really thought about that.
Now, we also learned that the bees have very little clean foraging available to them, and the competition for pure organic food is very tough, especially in the agricultural regions where open fields are farmed for cash crops and are not available for the wildflower growth. The combination of pesticides and GMO crops is devastating to the bees. Even roadside ditches, which is the one area where native wildflowers will grow, are being sprayed to keep them looking good for municipalities and keep them from spreading weeds to farm fields. So this is a huge problem. At 4RBs, we sponsored and organized wildflower plantings in cooperation with the beekeepers so that they can help us map out the best places to plant where it won't interfere with farmers and where it won't get sprayed by municipalities, and also where the bees can easily find the food close to their beehives. Also, we only plant organic, non-GMO wildflowers, and we do our best to only plant native species wherever we plant. So this, in combination with our technology, is having a huge positive impact on the bee health and survivability. Our supporters are the ones that deserve all the credit here. The bees are doing their work. The beekeepers are as well. Our technology keeps pumping out those healing frequencies, but with everyone's support, we can literally save bees worldwide, save small independent business people from disaster, support local communities, and bring more biodiversity to the planet for all life.
Wow, that's fantastic.
That shows you in the field, and we have a whole bunch of other where we're individually dealing with the beekeepers, and like we have such content on what it's done versus without or with and so forth, and it's so gratifying to get out into the field and do this with the beekeepers. I'm looking forward to more and more of it, particularly over in Africa. We have one of our beekeepers there that it's actually supporting, where he has, money, then it goes into the school systems where he's taking, what he's making and making a difference. Then we can get into food sources, because, bees are responsible for 70% of the pollinating for our food sources. And I don't know if people understand this, but a lot of times in commercially, they'll take bees around, say almonds, to the almond trees where they have to take them, or blueberries, and they'll bring them in and take them out. It's incredibly hard on the bees to be traveling like that and doing so forth. So we're looking at that. We're also looking at what's called bee rescue. So again, with that mission that I was just telling you about, there's groups that we will tie in and fund that they go and save natural bees that are under people's porches or in their houses, as opposed to kill them. They'll remove them and get them into safer places. So that's another way. Otherwise, before they were just killing the bees off because they didn't want them around the house. So that we get those kind of things. And then corridor programs. Remember I mentioned in there about on the sides of road, they're weed killing because they want it looking. So we're getting in what's called corridor groups, support them ecologically for the food sources. So it's a chain, it's a domino kind of effect of that are resources that we want to get out to really take care of the bees all the way around, all areas.
Wow, that's fantastic. Now, I know on your website, because I see a lot of people talking about how they have beehives, and on your website, 4rbs.com, there's a link where it says get involved, beekeeper program. Is that where people would contact you if they're interested in, obtaining some of the cells?
Yes, that's exactly where. So we have what happens is they'll apply. We screen it in the sense we want to know that we're getting beekeepers that know what they're doing, because you can give them cells. If they don't know what they're doing, then it defeats the purpose. So we go through a screening process. We have an application, we accept it, and then we send out cells to those beekeepers. And that's how we take them in. And we have a whole department that we're building, that's growing, that will specifically take care of beekeepers on what their needs are, what they need financially, all of that. That's what we're building, because that's what we're all about. Everything else is peripheral to that, and it's exciting what we're doing. And of course, it's exciting what this does to the human body, and as you say, in plants, and how you can use it. So it's a real win-win. People, when they support it and buy, they're getting huge health benefits for them that then go out and benefits for the bees. It's a perfect match. They're doing two things. Number one, taking care of themselves, and then number two, taking care of the environment and their ecology. So it's a pretty nice deal.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And of course, the shop and Shop Our Best Sellers, Pure Wave Cell. I highly recommend. I got everything and lots of everything. So we have like three floors, and we have one of the cells on each floor. They have specific missions and purposes for each one of our floors. But wow, how fantastic that like you were saying, when you buy the product, you're actually, contributing to helping beekeepers.
Yeah, and thank you to you as one person who's been contributing to that. But how nice is it, even for you, with all the things that you do and what you're going out and doing through your podcast, to keep you healthy, for me to know that you have that, you're using it's just one little thing that I can know that in some part way, I'm keeping you healthy, right, in your daily life. Because the truth is, really, without health, we don't have anything. Zero. Everything that we're concerned about or whatever, without our health, it becomes mute. It's useless. So this is where we have to look beyond ourselves and teaching the children about this early, because what's fantastic about our children is they will pick up on this. And I think I told you this story, but when I was talking to a young girl, couldn't be more than six, 7, and she asked me, what I'm doing, and I talked about the bees. She stopped me and lectured me for 5 minutes on how important that was, and so that it's hard to get their attention, right?
Wow.
Does this get their attention? And they're connected to it. So it's exciting.
Yeah. And, on top of that, you give an incredible discount. Jaco Bees, JACOBEES. You give a 20% discount, and I took advantage of that discount too. And I just doubled down because it was such a great discount. So thanks for doing that.
Well, that was our gift back to you thank you for bringing out, so that you're allowing us to come out and speak to your wonderful audience. So that's a gift to them, and to you for allowing that. It is a gift that we're allowed to come and speak to people, because we can't get the message out unless people see it or see us. And so this is a wonderful way for us to explain what we do and show people what we do, and tie into what you've allowed us to do. So we're very honored that you've allowed that, and we really thank your people, because they really have stepped up and come and supported us. So thank you again.
Yeah, thank you, Brent, and thanks for all the great information. I always enjoy these shows because I learn so much every time we do these. Even though I've done a lot of research in your website and everything, I still learn a lot from you. So, I did throw a little curveball at you, but you were incredible with it. I know you probably go down that rabbit hole a lot deeper, but thanks for bringing that information out. Of course, again, we can't, claim anything, but there does seem to be a lot of people having some great, effects from this. So thank you.
They are, and I'll tell you, the next time we'll have some fun. The next time you and I are together, I'll bring the whole bird thing in, because we were contacted by bird rescue people, and we sent them cells, and down in New Mexico, and she's fixing all the birds with the Pure Wave cells. So it's not just the bees now, it's the birds, but it was because of them contacting us. But we have all this content on what they're doing with the birds. But of course, we're all one. Whether it's birds, your pets, dogs and cats, they all benefit benefit from this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah, we're all biological beings, and the right technology, the right frequencies makes a huge difference these days.
They're trying to make me kill
Yes. Yeah. And so that's the fun part for me, because I didn't see that coming. And, but of course people come to you and you say, hey, sure, try it out. And it's amazing, not surprising, but amazing.
Yeah, I look forward to that show. That's going to be great. All right,
Yeah.
sir. Thank you so much. And, everyone that contributed and will contribute in the future, thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Love you. That's all he needed to see, is not anyone telling him what to do, because you can't tell him what to do on this show. But all you did is say all kinds of interesting things that were sort of like you about whatever was dumb topic, which was bees. And put up little blue hearts in between yellow, which is what the show looked like at night. It's true, said military. Hates you, said nobody.